And finally, we've reached the last video in the nuclear program series. We began in the United States, then went to Russia and China. We saw the role of artificial intelligence in managing nuclear weapons, and then the other countries like India, Pakistan, North Korea, and finally, now we're going to finish with Israel. Let's see how their development of nuclear weapons happened and what their arsenal is like today. And mainly the update of their nuclear program, obviously involving aspects of nuclear weapons. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share the video with everyone you know, because nobody knows about this channel. It's completely unknown, and that's for good reason. I make this kind of video that almost nobody is interested in except for those people who want to go deeper, in a more serious academic way. Taking away the myths, taking away the conspiracy, taking away the psychological terror that some guys create. These are the people who want content that is more dense and deep. So thank you very much for following the World Geopolitics channel, but share it, give yourself a boost, that already helps a lot. I'm Geopolitica Mundial, and this is the World Geopolitics channel. Bye. Israel's nuclear weapons program began in the 1950s. It was driven by vulnerability after the State of Israel was created and subsequent regional conflicts. Under the leadership of David Ben-Gurion, Israel began secret efforts to acquire nuclear technology, finding a crucial partner in France. And after the Suez Crisis of 1956, Franco-Israeli cooperation became even more intense, with French engineers helping to build a high-power research nuclear reactor in the Negev desert, near Dimona, and a reprocessing plant to extract plutonium. In 1963, the Dimona reactor, officially called the Shimon Peres Negev Nuclear Research Center, began operating under extreme secrecy. By the late 1960s, Israel had already produced enough plutonium for one or more nuclear weapons. At the same time, since the late 1960s, Israel adopted the so-called nuclear ambiguity policy, or amimut in Hebrew, an implicit commitment of not being the so-called first country to introduce nuclear weapons in the Middle East. In practice, Israel interprets not introducing as not testing, announcing, or officially admitting its arsenal, although it reserves the right to possess it. This understanding was consolidated in a tacit agreement with the United States in 1969 during meetings between Prime Minister Golda Meir and President Richard Nixon, which was only revealed many years later in Henry Kissinger's memorandum. Since then, Israel has neither confirmed nor denied having nuclear weapons. Any direct mention is avoided and even censored when it involves the Israeli press. This ambiguity, successful for decades, has tried to avoid international pressure and a regional arms race. However, episodes like the revelation of information by technician Mordecai Vanunu in 1986 to The Sunday, they revealed details of Israel's nuclear program, showing an advanced arsenal and thermonuclear warhead designs in development. Even so, officially, Israel remains outside the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and even rejects international inspections in Dimona, keeping its nuclear deterrence outside of formal agreements. In January 2024, Israel was estimated to have about 90 nuclear warheads. This estimate is at the lower end of a possible range that some analysts suggest could reach up to 300 nuclear weapons. It is presumed that Israel keeps its warheads stored separately from its launchers during peacetime. Israel still follows a policy of nuclear ambiguity, never officially confirming or denying possession of nuclear weapons, even though everyone knows they do. This lack of transparency means there's a lot of uncertainty about the size of Israel's nuclear arsenal, as well as the yields and characteristics of its weapons. The estimate presented is largely based on calculations of Israel's inventories of weapons-grade plutonium and the number of operational nuclear-capable delivery systems. The locations of the warhead depots, which are believed to be stored partially disassembled, are unknown. Since Israel does not officially acknowledge its apparent possession of nuclear weapons, the instances in which it might use them also remain highly uncertain. Reports based on interviews with retired Israeli generals indicate that Israel would have considered using nuclear weapons if it thought it was going to lose the 1967 Arab-Israeli War. Besides that, in late 2023, Several Israeli policymakers and commentators, including a minister who was later suspended from the cabinet for these statements, mentioned that Israel almost used nuclear weapons against Hamas fighters. Israel. Two cases are very important, as they are rare examples of high-ranking Israeli officials apparently acknowledging the existence and intended use of their nuclear arsenal. It is estimated that at the beginning of 2023, Israel had a stockpile of 750 to 1, 110 kilograms of plutonium, depending on the rate at which the reactor was also used for tritium production. Based on this estimate, and assuming that the Israeli warhead arsenal probably consists of single-stage boosted fission weapons, Israel could, in theory, have built between 187 and 277 nuclear weapons, considering approximately 4 kilograms of plutonium per warhead. However, just like other states with nuclear weapons, it's unlikely that Israel has converted all of its plutonium into warheads, and it probably assigned nuclear weapons to only a limited number of launchers. Furthermore, the availability of tritium needed to boost the warheads would represent an additional limitation on the number of weapons Israel could build. Unlike the superpowers during the Cold War, it is believed that Israel does not keep warheads mounted on delivery systems during peacetime. In other words, the nuclear weapons are stored separately from the missiles and aircraft and would require assembly and pairing before use. This practice would be in line with the policy of ambiguity and would aim to reduce the risks of accidents or inadvertent alarms. Furthermore, since they do not officially admit to possessing nuclear weapons, they do not have a publicly known doctrine for their use. Thus, immediate readiness would drop since no warheads would be on alert. Analysts believe that, in an acute crisis scenario, Israel could quickly raise its state of readiness, for example, by distributing warheads from storage to air bases, missile silos, or submarines. But there is no public indication that such a measure has ever been necessary. Up to the present moment, Israel has not conducted any declared nuclear tests. The only possibly relevant nuclear-related event was the strange flash detected by the Vela satellite in 1979 in the Indian Ocean. Some suspect that it was a joint nuclear test between Israel and South Africa. However, this has never been confirmed by either country. The plutonium for the Israeli nuclear program is produced at the Dimona Nuclear Reactor Negev Nuclear Research Center. It is a heavy water moderated reactor with its power estimated to be between 40 and 70 megawatts, or enough to irradiate natural uranium fuel and produce weapons-grade plutonium. 1980 studies estimated this reactor could produce 9 to 10 kilograms of weapons-grade plutonium per year, or enough for 1 or 2 warheads per year. Israel also produces tritium, a hydrogen isotope crucial for boosting warhead yield and enabling possible thermonuclear weapons, in addition to plutonium. Tritium is generated by irradiating lithium-6 targets in reactors. It is estimated that Israel uses the Dimona reactor itself, or perhaps some smaller special-purpose reactor hidden for this purpose. Since tritium has a short half-life of about 12 years and decays quickly, it is necessary to periodically replenish the stock to maintain the power of the warheads that already exist. Satellite images in recent years have revealed a lot of construction work at Dimona. This is a sign that Israel is investing to extend the lifespan and capacity of its nuclear complex between 2018 and 2022. Analysts from the International Panel of Fissile Materials and other organizations detected a large excavation next to the reactor building and new upper structures. The largest expansion at the site in decades. For the deployment of nuclear warheads, Israel's traditional airborne nuclear vector consists of fighter aircraft capable of delivering gravity bombs or cruise missiles with nuclear warheads. Approximately 30 of Israel's nuclear weapons are estimated to be gravity bombs, intended to be delivered by F-16 or F-15 aircraft. The status of Israel's F-15 fleet is uncertain. But in 2019, a United States official told the SIPRI agency that they are considered Israel's nuclear squadron with nuclear gravity bombs without active cores. They are probably being stored in protected facilities near 1 or 2 air bases, such as Tel Nof Air Base in central Israel and Hazarin Air Base in the Negev Desert. Israel is also acquiring 50 F-35 fighter jets from the United States. The Americans and some of their NATO allies have assigned a nuclear mission to the F-35, but it is not clear if Israel intends to assign this mission to its F-35 fighters as well. In terms of land-based missiles, up to 50 warheads are believed to be assigned to Jericho ballistic missiles, which are land-based, although the Israeli government has never publicly confirmed possession of these missiles. It is believed that they are located. It is believed that it is believed they are located. It is believed that it is believed they are located. It is believed that they are located. ISRAEL surrounds a broadcast, causing Pepin to have done forum products of. No. It passes through the Jericho 3's 3 stages, which extend its range to over 4,000 kilometers. The latter became operational in 2011 and may have already replaced the Jericho 2. In recent years, Israel has carried out several test launches of systems called rocket propulsion. These tests may be related to improvements in its ballistic missile force or to the development of Israeli space launch vehicles that use solid rocket engines. In terms of sea-based missiles, Israel operates 5 Dolphin-class diesel-electric submarines built in Germany. They are based in Haifa, on the Mediterranean coast. There are unconfirmed reports that all or some of these submarines have been modified to launch a cruise missile variant of the Popeye missile, armed with a locally produced nuclear warhead, giving Israel the capability for sea-based nuclear strikes. However, while sources linked to the Israeli government informally confirm this in interviews with local newspapers, the German government officially denies that these submarines have the capability to carry nuclear warheads. On November 12, 2024, Israel launched its newest submarine, the ENS Draken, the 6th in the fleet and the largest ever built for Israel. Images show that its sail, its tower, is much larger, and there are indications that the ENS Draken incorporates a vertical launch system for cruise missiles. This would allow multiple nuclear missiles to be launched at once and possibly from underwater, increasing its strike capability. However, it is not officially known what types of missiles these vertical silos accommodate, nor whether they will actually be armed with nuclear weapons or with long-range conventional missiles. Draken is in its final testing phase in Germany and is expected to be incorporated into the Israeli Navy by the end of 2025. In early 2022, Israel signed an agreement with Germany to acquire 3 more new submarines, which will be known as the Dakar-class, to replace the 3 oldest Dolphin-class submarines. The concept art release for these submarines shows that they will likely be equipped with a vertical launch system capable of firing existing types of missiles or missiles that are still in the prototype phase. Since 2024, the Israeli nuclear program has undergone very significant new developments, both in the technical improvement of its delivery systems and in the political debate surrounding its deterrence policy. In June 2024, Israel conducted an important missile propulsion test, publicly announced as a test of a rocket propulsion system from the Palmachim base. The launch, premeditated and only superficially reported by Israel's Ministry of Defense, generated enormous international speculation, with analysts pointing out that it was a test of next-generation missiles. Jericho missiles that can carry nuclear weapons, possibly a prototype of the Jericho 4, with Russian sources stating that the missile flew about 1,800 kilometers before falling into the Mediterranean Sea, showing performance consistent with an intermediate-range missile. That concludes the Modernization of Nuclear Program series. We have seen all the countries that possess nuclear weapons, at least officially, that we know of, and most likely, yes, only these. After all, there are no indications or evidence pointing to the existence of other countries besides those we covered in this series. Best regards. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to share this video with everyone you know to help the Geopolitica Mundial channel keep going. Your support may seem small, but it's very important, especially when you share it on other social networks. This kind of gives a certain boost to the YouTube algorithm and shows that people are getting interested in the content from Geopolitica Mundial. So it helps a lot. Hugs, and see you next time.